Have you ever felt like the economic ground beneath our feet is shifting, like really fast?
Yeah, it definitely feels that way for a lot of people.
That the America we grew up hearing about or maybe even lived in is starting to look different, almost like places we used to think of as far off.
You mean like seeing more tent encampments on the streets?
Exactly. Tents,
Yeah.
people living in cars, this real struggle just to afford basic things. It feels almost surreal sometimes.
It really does.
Okay, so let's try and unpack this. This deep dive is all about this growing affordability crisis here in America.
Right.
We want to explore how everyday life is becoming, well, a struggle for millions. Even people working incredibly hard. Multiple jobs sometimes.
And we've got some powerful stories to draw on, haven't we?
We do. A whole stack of firsthand accounts. Personal vlogs, candid discussions online, direct testimonials, people detailing the challenges with housing, rising costs, some really unexpected living situations they're ending up in.
Yeah, it's like getting a peek into a collective diary. It shows the resilience, but also, the sheer struggle.
So our mission today,
Yeah.
cut through the noise, maybe show the stark reality of it, and uncover how people are adapting, trying to find a way forward.
And like you said, these aren't just numbers, they're real voices, real people. That human perspective is so crucial here.
It really is, because when you listen to these accounts, there's this feeling that America is becoming a place you just survive in, maybe not truly live in.
And you see it visually, like we said, the tents, the cars.
And the fact that some folks can't even afford enough food is a fundamental shift, almost existential.
It is. And it goes beyond just shelter and food, doesn't it? We heard from one healthcare worker.
Oh, yeah, tell me about that one.
Their patients needed medicine, basic supplies, but insurance just wouldn't cover it.
Seriously.
Yeah. And this worker, they were spending their own money to help these patients, people with no income who couldn't work.
Wow. That says a lot. It shows how the safety nets, well, they seem to be fraying, right?
Yeah, exactly. Individuals are having to step into those gaps themselves.
That's devastating. And it really highlights the individual burden.
Yeah.
But when you see people making these sacrifices and still struggling, is it just bad choices? Or is it something bigger?
Well, look at the story of that person paying $1,600 for a no-bedroom flat.
$1,600 for basically a studio.
And that was 2/3 of their income, working 50 hours a week, no health insurance, $7,000 in debt.
Their health declining because they can't afford healthy food, even from Whole Foods.
Right. And here's the kicker. They're overqualified for their job, making their boss millions, apparently, but they're barely surviving, never had a vacation.
And earning, what, 20-something an hour where they need 30-something just to live.
Exactly. And earning too much for government help, but not enough to actually live decently.
So what does a story like that tell us?
It screams that it's not just about individual responsibility, It points to a system where work doesn't always pay enough for a basic, dignified life. There's this huge gap.
A chasm, really.
Yeah, between the cost of living and what people actually earn. We also heard from a mother selling her plasma.
Selling plasma.
Is to afford school clothes and supplies for her kids. It's a desperate measure driven purely by necessity.
God, that's heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just the huge expenses, is it? It's the everyday grind, too, like groceries.
Oh, definitely. Someone mentioned spending $16.70 on just a few items.
Yeah, and remembering when $60 would get you a whole bag full, it shows how fast those goalposts have moved.
Mm-hmm. And the emotional toll, it's immense.
Right. Someone said they miss being just regular sad about the world.
Instead of feeling catastrophically horrified every day, that really stuck with me. It's not just financial stress. It's this deep overwhelm, this despair. It's eroding well-being.
Okay, so these struggles, they all seem to converge on one massive challenge: housing.
Absolutely. The housing squeeze.
Finding somewhere affordable, somewhere decent.
Hmm.
It's become almost impossible for so many. We're seeing these insane rent increases.
Astronomical, really.
Like that tiny studio in Chicago, 426 square feet. The rent went from $1,930 to $2,180. Then, bam, $2,649.
In 2 years, that's over a $500 jump. Just unbelievable.
And another person, their rent went from like $1,700 to almost $2,200 in 4 years. It feels less like inflation and more like Well, extortion.
Yeah, it really does. And you have to wonder, how are people even qualifying?
Right. Landlords want income 3 times the rent. So for that studio, you'd need, what, $4,500 a month?
Something like that. And what's wild is even high earners are getting rejected. We heard about someone in LA.
Making good money,
Yeah,
right?
like $200,000, $250,000 a year, great credit score, nearly 800.
Wow.
Still got denied from multiple apartments listed at $4,000 a month.
So even making $250,000 isn't enough anymore. That's a wake-up call.
It really shows how broken the market is in some places.
And you'd hope for these prices you'd get, a decent place. But that's not always happening either.
No, definitely not. People complaining rent-ready apartments are dirty, not updated.
Like that $1,100 place with the wash and dryer in the kitchen.
Yeah. The person called it a trap house, so kind of sarcastic, but it highlights how bad conditions can be for the price.
Or that LA apartment for nearly $2,500. No oven, no fridge, tiny bedrooms.
Just, yeah, what people are expected to accept.
And if you fall behind, get evicted.
Oh, that's a nightmare. It can basically blacklist you. Almost every application asks about eviction history. It makes renting again incredibly hard.
Creates this cycle of instability.
Exactly. Very tough to break out of.
Okay, so renting sounds brutal. What about buying the American dream, right?
Well, that's a whole other mountain to climb. Maybe Everest.
Yeah, I guess so. High prices, high interest rates.
It's a tough combo. For an average home, say $400,000 at 7% interest, you need to make $100,000 a year with zero debt.
Zero debt. Who has zero debt?
Right. With typical debt, like student loans or car payments, you probably need closer to $120,000, $130,000.
But the average American can only afford maybe a $250,000 house.
If they can even find one, they're getting really rare. It just shows this widening gap between, the dream and the reality.
And there's this other worrying trend you mentioned with mortgage lenders.
Yeah, this is concerning. We're seeing more cases where lenders, sometimes big banks or credit unions, are pre-approving buyers who maybe aren't actually qualified.
People think they're good to go.
Right. They sign contracts, put money down, get emotionally invested, and then the final mortgage gets denied.
Oh, that's brutal.
It really is. And it makes you ask, is your lender really an advisor looking out for you? Or are they just a rate dealer trying to make a transaction happen?
That's a really important question. How can people even tell the difference?
Yeah.
Especially when they're stressed about finding a place.
It puts a lot of pressure back on the buyer. You have to be skeptical, get multiple opinions, maybe talk to an independent financial advisor. Don't just trust the pre-approval blindly. Read everything.
So more work for the buyer in an already stressful process.
Unfortunately, yes. We heard that real-world example from California.
The couple buying the house listed for $795,000.
Yeah, they had to offer $850,000 to even get it. And that was with help from parents for the down payment.
Wow. And their mortgage.
Loan was $635,000 at 6.75%. Monthly payment, over $5,100.
$5,000 a month. Just for the mortgage.
It's a huge commitment, even in California.
And to put that in perspective, we also heard from that registered nurse. Excellent credit, 808 score, zero debt.
Perfect candidate on paper, right?
Totally. Quoted 6.5% interest. And realized one mortgage payment would be more than one of her paychecks.
That just nails it, doesn't it? How out of reach it's become, even for professionals with good financial habits.
Yeah. And it's not just new buyers feeling it. Homes that were affordable just a couple of years ago.
Skyrocketing. Someone bought a house for $360,000 in 2021. 2 years later, valued near $420,000.
$60,000 in 2 years. Just wow. That's faster than wages are rising, for sure.
Way faster. And it outpaces the cost of building materials, too. So those original buyers couldn't afford their own house if they had to buy it today.
Which brings us back to parental help, doesn't it?
It seems increasingly necessary. Lots of young people just can't get into the market without family money for down payments or co-signing.
It's becoming less of a boost and more of a requirement. A generational wealth transfer just to get started.
It really changes the whole idea of achieving homeownership on your own.
Okay, but people are incredibly resilient, right? Even facing all this, they're finding ways to cope, to adapt. Some are pretty creative, some are really tough.
Absolutely. Human ingenuity is amazing. And this leads us into some fascinating, though sometimes difficult, alternative living situations.
Like van life.
Yeah.
Or living in vehicles.
Right. And the key point here from the sources is that for millions, this isn't some cool Instagram lifestyle. It's not hashtag van life.
It's a last resort.
Exactly. As one person said, van life equals the housing crisis, not freedom.
But instead of helping, society sometimes makes it harder.
Yeah. We're seeing bills trying to criminalize homelessness, including living in vehicles. It turns survival into a crime.
So people had to be even more careful. more hidden.
Mm-hmm. Adds a layer of constant stress.
We heard from that woman who's experienced living in her vehicle. She had some really stark advice.
Yeah, she pushed back against the sort of naive stay safe idea, pointed out real dangers, extreme heat inside the vehicle, like over 100 degrees.
The tendency to hoard things from your old life.
Right, making the small space even harder to live in. And just the reality that being homeless is often criminalized, you're looked down on.
So what did she emphasize instead?
Basic survival,
Hmm.
health, hydration, exercise, and crucially, what she called the art of detachment, letting go of possessions that don't serve you in that new reality.
That's powerful. A mental shift is needed too.
Definitely. And for the practical side, people shared tips for stealth camping.
Like where to park without getting hassled.
Yeah. Gym parking lots, sometimes parking structures, but you might have to pay, outside apartment complexes, rest stops, Walmart parking lots. It's a whole strategy guide born out of necessity.
It really is ingenuity under pressure. But it's not all negative for everyone, is it?
No, interestingly, one person found real happiness living in their car in the Arizona mountains.
Preferring it to the city grind.
Exactly. For them, that was freedom, escaping high costs and working for others. It's a different perspective.
What about RVs? Are they a step up?
Generally seen as better than a car, yeah. More space, maybe more amenities. The advice is usually to find RV parks that allow longer stays, or maybe park at someone's house if regulations allow.
Okay, so vehicle living is one adaptation. What else? Hotel living.
Yeah, this is sometimes called hidden homelessness. It's a growing trend.
Moving into hotels instead of renting an apartment. Why?
Well, no lease usually. Easier to qualify sometimes. And you save on utilities, which is a big one.
But it comes with its own challenges, I imagine.
Oh, absolutely. People living out of boxes, tiny spaces, mini fridges that don't stay frozen, problems with key cards.
Even getting double booked.
Yeah.
Someone else getting a key to your room.
Yeah, that happened. And you have families moving from hotel to hotel, no real stability. That's the hidden homelessness part.
But some people actually
Yeah.
enjoy it.
Surprisingly, yes. Some mentioned liking the fresh linens, no utility bills, the freedom to just leave. It shows how bad the traditional options must feel for them.
Makes you appreciate having your own kitchen, a stable address.
Totally. Puts it in perspective. And people adapt incredibly, cooking with electric skillets, toaster ovens, crock pots in their rooms, making DIY pantries.
But there's that residency issue too, right?
Yeah, some hotels have a 28-day limit to stop people claiming residency, so families have to keep moving. More instability.
Another big shift we're seeing, challenging cultural norms, is multi-generational living.
Right. Moving back in with parents, it's becoming, as someone called it, the new flex, more accepted, more practical.
A way to save money, maybe heal from financial stress, just reset.
We heard from that 35-year-old couple. They were in survival mode for 3 years, electricity getting shut off sometimes.
Even though they paid like $1,700 over 5 months.
Yeah. So they decided to move back with parents, and they acknowledge it's a privilege many don't have.
Which raises that question. Yeah. Why is American culture so resistant to this? Lots of other cultures see it as normal, even beneficial.
It's a great question. That belief that everyone must be independent right at 18, it's being questioned now. Is it realistic anymore?
Maybe not. Multi-generational living just makes practical sense for combating high costs, and maybe it builds stronger families too.
Could be. Beyond housing, people are also making some drastic personal cuts.
Like really tightening the belt.
Oh yeah, not eating out for 5 years,
Yeah.
cooking everything from scratch, doubling garden sizes to preserve food.
That's a serious commitment, not just skipping a few lattes.
No kidding. And healthcare too.
Yeah.
Switching to generic meds to save $1,000 every few months, even if they were, it's not quite as effective.
Wow. Tough choices.
And travel. Forget vacations, maybe just staycations, working from home to save gas, even cutting back on pet care, like certain vet vaccinations for indoor pets.
Trying to find savings anywhere they can, even downsizing within their own apartment.
Yeah, sacrificing a living room to make a bigger bedroom, it just shows the lengths people go to, what they give up to make ends meet.
Okay, let's zoom out. These individual stories, they're happening against a backdrop of larger forces, right?
Yeah, definitely. And one huge one is utility bills. They're just skyrocketing everywhere.
We're hearing crazy numbers, bills doubling, tripling.
Yeah, Illinois, $260 up to $560. A tiny house, $200 up to nearly $500. Kentucky, $150 to over $300. And California, Arizona, bills over $1,000.
$1,000 for electricity. How is that even possible? I always thought it was just AC in the summer or something.
Well, that's part of it, but there's a bigger, maybe surprising factor emerging: artificial intelligence.
AI. How does AI affect my electric bill? That sounds kind of sci-fi.
It does, but it's very real. The demand for AI requires massive data centers. Think huge buildings packed with computers.
Okay.
And those data centers use enormous amounts of electricity. Projections say they could consume 12% of all U.S. electricity by 2030,
12%.
just for data centers. Yeah. It's putting a huge strain on the grid that we're only starting to grapple with. Experts are warning about it. It's not just your air conditioner anymore.
Wow. That's actually mind-blowing. Puts
Yeah.
those high bills in a totally different light. So, given all this, are people looking at moving geographic solutions?
Some definitely are, if they have the option. One source listed the 10 cheapest states to buy a home in 2025. Places like West Virginia, Mississippi, Arkansas, Kentucky.
Generally lower cost of living states.
Exactly. Alabama, Indiana, Iowa, Ohio, Missouri, Michigan too, and some rural areas in Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana. It's about finding where your money stretches further.
So if you can work remotely, maybe moving is a serious option.
It's becoming a key strategy for some, relocating to a cheaper state or even just a cheaper part of your current state. Location is a huge factor now.
So tying this all together, what's a big takeaway message from all these stories, all these sources?
I think the clearest message is that everyone needs a plan B, even if you feel comfortable right now.
This isn't just for people struggling today.
No, the ground is shifting too fast. You need to be saving money, thinking about fallback options like living with family if needed, planning for what happens if your rent spikes or you lose your job or your lease isn't renewed.
So proactive planning isn't just smart, it's essential for survival now.
It really seems that way. It's moved from luxury to necessity.
Okay, so we've painted a pretty striking picture here. Daily life in America being reshaped by these intense economic pressures.
Yeah, pushing people to their limits, but also sparking that resilience, those creative, if difficult, solutions.
It's a testament to the human spirit, for sure, but also, like you said, a stark reminder of some deep systemic issues. So for you listening, what does all this mean?
Well, this deep dive shows financial stability isn't just about earning more money anymore. It's about adapting strategically. It's about questioning those old traditional norms. And it's definitely about planning for a future that looks pretty uncertain.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. As we see these rapid changes, think about your own life. What personal sacred cows, ideas or expectations you hold dear, might you need to challenge?
Maybe it's the idea of total independence right away. Or those luxury items you thought you needed, maybe even what you expect from a vacation.
What might you be willing to let go of or rethink to secure your financial future and ultimately your quality of life in this changing landscape?
Something to really mull over and maybe start planning for what's next.